So Dominican food has finally landed in Las Vegas. And I can't tell you how excited I am about this because this really does resonate with me so much. A little bit about me and my family. A lot of you have seen photos of who I would consider my father. He's actually my stepfather, Ramon Morales. I love you so much. I was raised most of my life by a Puerto Rican man. And so being introduced to the culture, the food, the dancing, I've been in the salsa, bachata, merengue community for over 10 years now. Me and my mother love to dance. And a lot of that had to do with my dad and his culture and his upbringing. And so when I talk about Puerto Rican food and different types of Latin food, it really, really holds dear to my heart because like Black folks, when we talk about soul food and Thanksgiving and all those things, you know, things like conquito and plantains and arroz con pollo, which I still cook now, like those comfort foods really resonate with me, even though they're not typically a part of Black culture, right? Afro-Latino culture, but not necessarily Black culture. And so for me to know that someone who, by the way, is just an amazing spirit, but also a Afro-Latina coming here from Miami, Florida to cook food here in Las Vegas and want to stay here and cultivate in Las Vegas really gets me excited. So like I said, Dominican food has finally landed here in Las Vegas as the East Coast slowly starts to make its way out to the West Coast. A lot of people on the East Coast are realizing the West Coast is an untapped market. Come on down, okay? As a girl from New Jersey, I'm originally from the East Coast. I get it. I get we don't have the East Coast island Caribbean culture here that we would like to see on the West Coast. And so the fact that you guys are all trickling out here just brings me so much joy. And one amazing woman that I was introduced to is not only bringing her Dominican artistry here, but like many of us has faced a lot of adversity in her journey from Miami, Florida to Las Vegas. But what happened to Chef Naji will soon turn into her blessing. And I truly, truly believe that because the need for her food is huge here. We need her here. Not only that, but she's a pastry chef. And I think a lot of my friends around here, a lot of Black people that I know are like, man, we don't see a lot of Black pastry chefs, culinary chefs. And on top of that, just, you know, more authentic, diverse food from the Black culture, right? And so this just made me so excited to meet her. I met her through a fellow food critic here who's huge here in Las Vegas, and talked about Chef Naji's journey. And so that's exactly what I did. We met up. We went to Mothership Coffee. Shout out to Mothership Coffee. We had a great time. And here is Chef Naji's story about how she landed here in Las Vegas. You are pretty much the plug for the Dominican culture here in Las Vegas. So what brought you here?
So I had a job opportunity to open a restaurant inside of the Fontainebleau. And it was amazing because my husband and I were looking to move from the East Coast. And in the East Coast, every corner, you're gonna find Dominican food, you're gonna find Cuban food, Puerto Rican food, the Caribbean all around, Jamaican, Haitian. So it was comfortable, it was home. So for my husband and I, we were looking for a place to be our authentic self, but also have time for our family, be able to have that culture. So we visited here, Vegas, and it had a little bit of everything but the Dominican culture, but that Caribbean culture. So we visited, we saw the seasons and everything like that. We saw the job opportunities that we had, not only for my husband, who's an entrepreneur, but for myself as a chef. We're like, why not? Let's do it. Let's take a chance and take a risk. So here we are.
So as briefly stated before, she came here to help open one of the largest resorts on the Strip, Fontainebleau. She was the executive pastry chef at Komodo. And there she thought, you know, moving her family across the country and really having this amazing opportunity, even after making a name for herself in Miami, that this would be just the icing on top of the cake, no pun intended. I know she's a pastry chef, but this is just the icing on top of the cake. You know, for any culinary chef, when Vegas calls, you come, right? And so this was an opportunity of a lifetime, but something happened during her journey, which obviously is devastating and very disappointing. We know how corporate entities work. And it caused her to have to pivot. Take a listen.
I started off in Miami. It's group hospitality as a whole, and I was a pastry chef for Swan in Miami. It's a Pharrell Williams restaurant. I was excited to start that off because a black entrepreneur like Pharrell, and I was their pastry chef there for about a year, and then they opened Komodo here in Fontainebleau in Las Vegas, and one of the corporate chefs approached me and told me, would you ever think about moving to Vegas? And I'm like, no, I never thought about it. He's like, call your husband right now and ask him if you guys would move to Vegas. In that second, I called my husband and he said, absolutely, let's go. He is such a supporter. So yeah, I opened Komodo in December 13 of 2023. And I was their pastry chef until a week ago. One of our team members was having their fabulous wedding, and all she wanted for her wedding was one of the desserts that we had on the menu. And I made a big version of it, but at the same time I wanted to make it for the restaurant as well. So I was doing R&D. R&D is recipe development. Me and my sous chef were, just working on it to provide it for the restaurant. She saw it and she fell in love with it. She was like, can I please have this for my wedding? So I told her, yeah. I told her absolutely, but I would have to charge you for it. I charged her for it. She took it for her wedding. She had an amazing time. I was off that Sunday, Monday, and that Tuesday I came in and I was approached by HR and he told me, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to SPI you, which means suspended pending investigation. And when I heard those words, I was like, investigation? What do you mean? What are you investigating
Yeah,
for?
because investigation is very it's very harsh.
Investigation? Like, how did we get here? How did we go from what could be deemed as a very minor mishap, mistake, or even a warning turn into an investigation? Come on now, y'all getting on my nerves. How did we get to this level, right? Why does it escalate so much when it comes to the Black person's experience in the corporate environment? Would this have happened, or would this have been labeled as an investigation if it was someone who was not Black? Would this have been a warning? Would it have made a difference if it was a man or a non-Black woman? You guys know the drill. How could someone with such a title as executive be so disposable? She continues.
Let's say I'm a nerd.
Right.
I do everything by the book. I want to make sure I'm crossing my T's and dotting my I's. And I said, what did I do? And he said, well, you sold a dessert and you didn't ask for permission. And my words to him exactly were, am I not the executive pastry chef? Am I not allowed to make decisions for a department? This is something for the restaurant.
Right.
And this is an employee that is getting married that's been with us since day one. She paid for this dessert. I didn't give her anything for free. And he told me, well, just like I report to somebody, you report to somebody as well, and you should have asked for permission. At that very moment, my heart sunk. And I said, okay, well, do your investigation, ask whoever you need to ask. I'm gonna get back to work. He was like, no, you're not understanding. I need you to pack your things and go home. With tears in my eyes, and I said, what? After 2 years, you want me to go home? He was like, yes, you're suspended pending investigation. I knew at that moment that they weren't gonna call me back. I packed my things, I went home. I called my husband and I said, we need to prepare because I don't think, and he said, slow your roll, maybe they'll, you've been a value employee, you've been someone that has been there for them, that has been, loyal, and you've brought so much money to the company, you are an asset. And I said, I know these people, and I know at the end of the day, once they're done, they're done. It's a mix of emotion. I've definitely had to check my mental health and prioritize, okay, you know what? This is what you could have done different. Mm-hmm. Okay, you know that this is a corporate system. Maybe you should have asked for permission. Maybe you should. Right. It's just, in all honest truth, I didn't know I had to.
And I wonder if they would have done that to someone else. And you know what I mean by someone else.
I
wonder if that someone else would have gotten a warning.
Right there. right there. And that's something that I spoke to HR about, because I was the only female chef in the kitchen. I was the only female Black,
Tell them.
Hispanic,
Tell them.
with kids. So it's a triple whammy there. I'm a mother.
You were looked at as a liability. And whether it's true or not, or whether they want to believe that is something that may have gone into the thought process, it's definitely something that we feel.
For sure.
Because of the lack of empathy and compassion that goes into those moments.
For sure.
So here's the pivot, which again resonates with me so much, because you guys all know my journey. You know what happened to me in the corporate news environment I was working in. You know how hard yet rewarding a pivot journey can be. And so this part of our conversation really resonated with me, because I know how it feels to be forcefully put in a position where you have to pivot. Not that you've been working on your side hustle and now you can pivot in a way that makes you comfortable. No, you are forced to pivot. And when you have a family and kids that rely on you, this isn't an easy task. It's not. And this is where I felt like Chef Naji and I really, really connected.
I opened up my LLC and I just decided to pivot, and I decided to start working on me, investing in my family, investing on the only person that can fire me when you own a business is me.
Yeah.
And I knew that until I had something of my own, I wouldn't be able to run things the way I wanted to run things. I always had to report to somebody. I always had to ask for permission. I couldn't do something kind for an employee that paid for it. It wasn't even something for free. I had to be at their mercy. I had to beg to do what I love to do. And that, to me, crushed me. It hurt because, not only because of the environment, the fact that I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast for this company, but it hurt because of my team.
When we talk about shared experiences and, you know, me going through what I went through at my prior and, you know, my former employer, and just the way to which they really make you feel like it's about business, because all the things that you put in, you know, and all of the things that they do to make you feel like we're a team. But when it all comes down to that bottom line, it's just business. And I don't think that they understand the way that it affects you when you do put in so much time and effort into something. But I think the beautiful thing about this is that pivot journey, although it's really hard and you don't understand what to do next, it's such a beautiful journey because you realize the blessing in not feeling owned, not having to abide by someone else's rules, doing things like starting your pop-ups, being there for your family and your kids, starting that podcast that you wanted to start. You know, it's like, this is the time, you know, and I really think it is your time.
So my next question was, what's next for Chef Naji? She is one of the most kind-hearted people I've ever met. And I think the Las Vegas community needs someone like her. Personable, experienced, but also cranks out some fire-ass food, okay? I've already had my plate. So I asked her what we can do to support her.
So I am excited because I was able to open my LLC. It's called Divine Hospitality. And the reason why I chose that name is because everything in hospitality is what I'm about. Hospitality to me is like a way through people's stomach. It's like it's like taking care of people through their stomach, and that is what I've been doing since I was maybe 12 years old. Here in Vegas, there's so many opportunities. Not only in the Latin community, but in the Black community, in the Hispanic community, because a lot of people believe that Latin and Hispanics are completely different. So there's opportunities for both, but also Black and white and all Asian, you know. And what I'm gonna start doing is doing pop-ups and just branching out and bringing the Latin aspect of myself and doing a fusion, if you will, with everything that I've learned throughout the years. A little bit of Asian culture, which I learned so much in Komodo. A little bit of that Hispanic culture, a little bit of the Southern culture. And here in Vegas, it's so amazing to get to know that Mexican culture and just infusing everything all together and just bringing it to life.
So during this time, she has had a number of events. I encourage you guys to go to her Instagram page. I will have her Instagram handles in the comments below. And she does plates, she does events, she has her food truck, she has so many things going on. And I think the message really was about now she can do what she wants to do. And the fact of the matter is, we need her here, Las Vegas. Summa Our Vegas. We need Dominican food. We need more Cuban food. We need more Puerto Rican food. But the plug is here, y'all. And she is here. And when I say I've already had my plate, I already bought a plate from her. Me and Chris threw the down, okay? There was nothing left but literal bones. The food was slamming. We've already had our plate. It did not disappoint. But we need to support our brothers and sisters, okay? We need to support each other and get her where she needs to be. So be sure to follow Chef Najee again. I will have her IG below in the comments. And let's get the Dominican culture up and popping here in Las Vegas. I really, truly think that some of those corners of our culture as a whole are missing. But they are slowly making their way out here. They are slowly making their presence known. And now it is really up to us as the community, needing more community, needing more culture, needing more of ours here. It's time for us to step up and support our girl, Chef Najee. So until the next episode, peace.